It's going to be an exciting night as we celebrate game changers and trailblazers. And we're going to be changing the game ourselves as we do No Makeup Day on DXB Today.
Welcome. It's Wow Wednesday, and we're honoring some truly amazing and awe-inspiring super achievers on the show today.
Yes, absolutely. Not only have they mastered their talents, but they have broken down walls and left a trail of shattered glass along the way.
Ooh, and they are here to share their stories and inspire all of us to reach our goals. But before we move ahead, let me first address the elephant in the room. Today, we are celebrating No Makeup Day in the studio. Ladies, how does it feel to be barefaced as we do our show?
I love it. I'm first of all fully embracing it.
The elephant in the room. So maybe it feel like we really don't look good, do we? No, you know what? I was a little nervous about it, I'm going to be honest. But I think it's all about getting used to seeing ourselves without makeup in more situations. Because I feel like even online, we have all the filters.
Absolutely.
It's just, we're used to having this perfect skin and being all polished. I think it's good.
Yeah, I love it.
I barely wear makeup with bags in the ass, guys.
Yeah, I barely wear makeup anyway. So for me, just like being at work with no makeup on, it's refreshing. I love it. We've got to embrace our beauty.
I don't think I could have done it without you guys, really. If you were going to wear makeup and I would do it all alone, then it would be something else.
See, unlike Amy, I wake up with a winged eyeliner. I'm very used to being, I don't know, a bit more bold with my makeup choices.
Well, I think we all look
this is
fabulous.
Refreshing and yeah. Good for us. Well, our guest co-host today is a real-life inspiration and is on a mission to conquer the world's most dangerous peaks. And she overcame great odds to realize her dreams. Let's meet her.
Hello, everybody. My name is Caroline Leon, and I am set to be the first woman in the world to complete a speed record of the volcanic 7 summits. I'm going to be on the show tonight. Stay tuned. We're on our way.
We'll be seeing Caroline in just a few minutes. Now, some heroes are not only changing the world, but saving it as well. One Dubai eatery is doing it by tackling food waste. And today being No Food Waste Day, friend of the show and food writer Dan Fahy visited Boca to see how it's changing the restaurant business.
Hi there, it's Dan here, and I'm here at Boca Restaurant today to talk to Omar, their Chief Sustainability Officer and founder, about food waste initiatives. What was it that inspired Boca to start looking into food waste initiatives?
Dan, I think it really starts with the origin story of Boca. So because we were a homegrown brand, we wanted to dedicate parts of our menu to local ingredients. We started looking at the 1,400 kilometers of coastline that we have access to here in the UAE. So we tested and used fish variety that was available to us in the fish market. Fish that is sustainable in terms of their numbers and in season. 1/3 of the food that is produced in the world is never consumed. Us as hospitality professionals, we contribute to almost 10% of the world GDP. So this does not only mean that we have a great responsibility, but perhaps the biggest opportunity to make a change.
So what would you say is the one thing that you've done that's made the most impact in kind of keeping food waste down?
I think apart from food waste, the biggest idea and the biggest approach, the main important approach was to take it from a data perspective. So when we looked at our waste data by category, the highest was glass. And this triggered a new conversation with our beverage supplier to understand what are some of the things that we can do to reduce this. Are they able to pick up these glass bottles? So we are now in talks with our supplier to launch a nationwide campaign where they will pick up these glass bottles and send them to a local recycling facility over here.
So Omar, how have you managed to get customers involved in tackling food waste?
We've taken a slightly subtle and nuanced approach where a lot of the byproducts and the sub-ingredients of main dishes, where we've done a little bit of creative work in terms of utilizing what is considered waste. In the narrative on our menus, we've approached it with a bit of creativity to call certain items that are considered waste something else. Things like powders and seasoning from tomato skin, or making cheese and ricotta from reviled milk, which is milk that is about to expire, or yesterday's bread, which is basically stale bread from the previous service that can be utilized in our dishes and our menus. So we've taken that approach. But we must not forget that first and foremost, we are in hospitality and the restaurant industry. Yeah. So whatever we produce on the plate needs to be worthy of that hard-earned cash that our guests are parting their ways with in order to come in. So we must not forget that we are in almost a fine dining environment, and people expect a certain level and a certain quality in their dishes. So that's our mission. And I think what guests are asking of us is to fulfill that while still maintaining the highest standards of sustainability in the background. That is our challenge at the moment.
So thank you so much for joining me today, Omar, and I'm looking forward to trying some good food in the next few minutes.
Fabulous, Dan. Thank you.
So, not only do they care about the planet, but they make some really tasty food. Bon appetit.
Sustainable meals, I like it. So no food waste day, no makeup days. You can see all of us not wearing our makeup. And Caroline Leon in the studio with us. I have been such a fan of yours, and I was watching this video of yours last night that brought me to tears. We're going to get to this amazing journey that you went through. But first, tell us what you've been up to these days, because got a few goals that you're...
Yeah, I'm really, firstly, thank you for having me. As you guys know, I'm a mountaineer, and I've been doing the Volcanic 7 Summits. It's a Guinness World Record attempt to be the first woman to take on the speed record. So I'm really excited about that. I'm about halfway through, so almost done.
So you've already done all 7, but now you're going back to do them at a certain speed?
Yes, well, I've done the first 4. I've done some of the others before as kind of training, and now I'm doing them to do the speed record. So I have a few more to do.
Yeah, once wasn't enough.
Yeah.
When you say speed record, how fast exactly? How much faster do you have to be?
So Guinness gives you a time frame of 200 days. So you have to do the speed record, so all 7 mountains in under 200 days. So right now...
So what are the 7, just so that for everyone watching out there?
Yeah, of course. So it's the highest volcano in each continent. And in Antarctica, it's a mountain called Mount Sidley, and it's absolutely beautiful. In Chile, it is the highest volcano in the world, which is called Ojos de Salado. In Mexico, it is Pico de Orizaba, which is the highest volcano in North America. In Asia, it's Mount Damavand. In Europe, it is Mount Elbrus. In Africa, it is Mount Kilimanjaro.
Wow.
And yes, in Papua New Guinea, it is Mount Gilloway.
Wow.
Incredible. Well, I know us girls were saying that we were a little bit scared about coming on screen with no makeup on, but I've got to say, like, you've got no fear whatsoever doing all of this mountain climbing all by yourself. Do you ever feel nervous or scared?
A lot of the time I do, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm not afraid per se. But it's definitely like anticipation, and am I going to be strong enough, and am I going to be able to do this? Because some of the mountains are hard. Like, for example, in Antarctica, I had to pull a 25-kilo sled with everything that I had for the expedition. And so you're lugging 25 kilos in minus 30, really freezing conditions.
Wow.
And there's always this, can I do this? Am I strong enough? But yeah,
So what kind of training do you do to prepare for something like this?
I probably look so silly in Dubai, but I have a little baby sled, and I put my dog, or I put lots of weights on it, and I just lug it around Dubai Hills Park.
Oh,
I look ridiculous.
I'm going to be looking out for you. Now, I need to talk to you about this incredible journey that you went through and an obstacle that you overcame, which is at one point you were, correct me if I'm wrong, you were wall climbing and you fell off. How high off
It was about 7 to 12 meters.
7 to 12 meters. You broke your back?
Yes, I broke my back, my pelvis, my pubic bone, my right leg disconnected. I broke both my feet.
I saw those scans yesterday. That was not easy to look at.
Yeah.
And you were told that you may never walk again.
Yeah.
And you refused to take that.
Yeah, I was just very stubborn, really. the stakes were so high. I just couldn't anticipate living my life in a wheelchair. And the moment that I decided I was going to do something different, I just did everything in my power to heal and recover. And I just read a lot and read lots of clinical studies and did lots of rehab and lots of nutrition work and everything that I could. The stakes are really high.
I mean, how long did it take for you to be able to walk again?
I was walking very poorly for about 2 years, and it took 4 years to recover completely. And even then, it was so.
You were clearly an adventurous person before the accident. Would you say your mindset changed in any way right after?
Definitely, I was a lot more resilient after. Because you get a sense of what you can go through and what your body can handle, and it just makes you so strong, so mentally strong. So when I get onto some of these mountains, it just feels beautiful and refreshing because of where I've come from. Being unable to walk for the better part of 4 years is so challenging. So just to be able to go out there and live the life that I want, it's beautiful.
Do you find that when you're going to go on one of these expeditions that you've got a different mindset now it's post-accident?
Definitely. I am just always in awe of the beauty of where I am and not really thinking about everything that's hurting and how hard it is and how challenging it is, because I've been in worse situations.
Yeah.
It's been much harder, much darker.
But that's the thing. I do want to talk about that fear, because we were like, oh, you've got to be fearless if you're tackling all these summits. But at the same time, in the video that I watched of you, you were saying one of the maybe silliest things was that you used to not be scared, you used to not be worried, which I was like, from my perspective, I'm like, you have to be fearless to be able to tackle these summits. But you said you do need to be worried, and you wouldn't have forgiven yourself if you weren't able to walk again because you weren't careful enough with your body and your health and your safety. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I think when you go through an accident like mine, you kind of realize the difficulty and the length of time it takes to heal and recover. It's a really arduous journey, and I think back and I think if I was more careful and more responsible with my own well-being, and I wore a harness when I was roped up and not so silly and careless, I wouldn't be in the situation that I was in hospital. So it really makes you think, like little things like being on your phone when you're driving, or not wearing a helmet when you're riding a bike, things like that. Just, it takes 1 second and your life is completely transformed. So for me, it was a real eye-opener. Now when I climb and I hike, I'm really cautious, I'm really safe. And I'm always harnessed, and I always make sure that I have everything so that nothing bad happens, really. It's mitigating accidents.
Yeah. Incredible. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. We'll have a little bit more of a chat with you later. But now it is time for a quick break. But we will be back with more trailblazers and rule breakers. So don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. As Oscar winner Michelle Yeoh said, ladies, don't let anyone tell you you're past your prime. Well, our guest embodies that very sentiment. Another trailblazer breaking all sorts of stereotypes. Please welcome Caroline Labouchere.
Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, and welcome to the show. So, Caroline, you're known in Dubai and internationally for being a model, but you didn't start your modeling career normally, as most young girls do, at 16, doing the runways. You started a little bit later in life. Can you tell us a little bit more about the story?
Yes. My daughter was a model, actually, and started when she was 14.
Yeah.
And so she had been the model in the family. And I think one model is enough for any family. I started when I was 54.
Incredible.
I was invited to London to cast via my daughter for a water company, a botanical water company, and I got the job, which started all of this.
Amazing.
I know, and they were looking for someone with grey hair,
Grey
right?
hair, yes,
Which
that was-
seems
that
like
was
that would
it.
be unusual, and you were like, hey, look at me rocking my grey locks.
Well, and also in England there are quite a lot of grey people, not
Yeah.
so much here in Dubai. Although it's becoming a bit more trendy these days.
Yeah, well, you're making it a bit more trendy, I would say.
Thank you very
now,
much.
Caroline, I've seen you modeling most recently for Ralph Lauren. You've got some huge names under your belt now. What was the mindset? How did you feel about your appearance when you were 54 and someone started asking you about modeling and your modeling career took off? How did you feel about that?
If you had asked me in my 30s or 40s, I probably would have said no. And in fact, I had done a very brief modelling session with my daughter in 2015, and I was terrified, and I literally hid behind her, and it just wasn't the right time, and it was nowhere in my head that I would be a model. But on that occasion, I was invited to London, and I said yes in a shot, and everything was yes all the way through, and it felt fantastic. It was just the right time, the right place.
Caroline, I'm curious, what does it feel like to be a model in your 50s?
I think in our 50s we're not as competitive with each other. It's a very different ball game from being 19 or 20, when people tend to look more the same. And I think we know more of our identity in our middle years. I don't say my middle years because I have many years ahead of me. So I think that is the difference, that you go into a room with your own personality, and your personality comes out more because you know yourself more.
Now, normally for the younger generation, there's always that fear of aging. Would you say that as you age, that fear actually dissipates?
No. I wouldn't say it dissipates. I don't like some of the things that are happening to my body, my skin texture, for example, the crepey skin, which nothing has come up. There is no pill yet, but I'll be first one in that line when that comes out. I don't want to be old. Yes, I'm fighting it to a certain extent, but I'm also excited to age. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So I don't like what is going on, because 50, I'm 58 now, I'm 59 in a couple of months. It's very different now to what it was when your mother was in her 50s, and she seemed like an older person in her 50s.
How do you think the modelling industry is evolving in terms of representation of diverse ages, ethnicity, sizes?
I think it is more accepting. Dolce & Gabbana always have an older person in their campaigns. I think there's still a lot to learn, but I don't like being the one grey person, the one brown person, the one when you can totally see that that's the reason. There is no other reason than your hair colour. So I'd like to shy away from campaigns like that. I'm there because I can do the job.
Yeah, not just because of your hair colour. Yes, of course.
Now, we're celebrating No Makeup Day in the studio.
I know, I wish you had
warned
me.
You're pretty natural today. I saw that you went and wiped off some of the makeup you came
Well,
to,
I
so was
did.
very excited about it.
And you noticed.
Yeah, I love it. But I see you on your Instagram. You're obviously very popular, and you often don't wear makeup.
No.
Now, for all the young women or women aging gracefully, what words of wisdom do you have to share about, just being confident in your own skin as you get older? And
you you have to be confident in yourself, and that's easily said. It's not easy, but I remember the day I walked into Carrefour in Mall of the Emirates, and I remember feeling invisible, and it's very easy, especially with grey hair, well, with any colour hair, but it's easy as you age to go into that. I'm waiting to be a granny, I don't have any other thing going for me. And it's a choice that you make to sit up straight, to stand straight, shoulders back, own it, walk in. And I walk into Carrefour every time I go in there now. Going my shoulders back, like I'm going to the bread department and I'm going to get some bread. No, it's in your mind. Everything is in your mind. Yeah. Healing is in your mind. And so it is a mindset that I'm 58, so I've got, 30, 40 years ahead of me, so why not be the best version to me that I can be? And it's not for anyone else, it's for me.
Yeah, we don't usually applaud on this show, but if we were going to applaud, let's give it to this lady.
Yeah,
both of you, of course.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're inspiring many other women as well to be themselves and to embrace exactly who they are.
Yes, and also go back to simple. I know you were talking about that earlier, makeup. Simple. Less is more.
I'm sure Caroline would agree that skincare is also an essential part of healthcare, but it's not always easy to find the right products for all the diverse skin types in Dubai. One woman-led company is changing that with its Asian-inspired products. So let's find out more about Glist.
My name is Carrie and I come from Hong Kong. I moved to Dubai 10 years ago. Last year, I left the corporate world to pursue my passion in skincare. So I founded Glist for the Gulf, the first East Asian premium skincare brand that specializes in sheet masks. There are such a big misconception of skincare is only made for women. I found a lot of people in the society, they are very obsessed with looking a certain way because of social media influences. If we are promoting eating clean and healthy, then why don't we also promote embracing natural beauty and be confident in your own skin? To promote the benefit of using sheet masks is a lot harder comparing to promoting it in countries like Japan and Korea, where people have already incorporated sheet masks in their day-to-day skincare routine. Glist is not just a skincare brand, but an educational platform. We have weekly blogs update, and the topics are always going to be related to skincare, wellness, and of course, self-love. What I love about Dubai the most is that people are so helpful out here. No matter if you know them well enough or not, as long as you need help, someone will come and help you. And another thing is, there are so many nationalities living out here, and everyone is so respectful towards each other's cultures and religion. If I have one day in Dubai, all by myself, I will spend it by the pool and the spa, and in the evening, I'll go for a nice meal and a long beach walk.
It is time now for our hot take in our recurring news segment, the Daily Roundup. Amy, what is today's hot topic?
Well, today we are talking about professional life for women and how professional life for women has improved leaps and bounds from a generation ago. But of course, challenges remain. In a recent survey, these are some of the top reasons why women quit their jobs. Poor work-life balance, which was 45% of women, overwhelmed with work, 27%, and for career advancement, 39%, and higher pay, 36%, and 56% of women reported mental stress and burnout because of their job. It's a serious matter.
Oh, absolutely.
So I know, Dina, you have got a wonderful family at home, and you've obviously got your career here with DXB Today and other things outside. How do you balance work life and your own personal life back at home?
You know, I lost my job while I was pregnant. I remember the first thought I had was, who in the world is going to hire me now when I'm pregnant? And, you know, the struggle is real. And, you know, it's often said it takes a village, and it does. I mean, we say in Dubai we're so blessed and lucky to have such amazing and affordable help, but we also, many of us don't have our families around and all that support system. It is impossible to have a full-time, in my mind, and I've seen my friends do it, and hats off to them, but for me personally, I find it impossible to have a full-time job and have 2 kids and be present for them and be focused on my career without burning out. It is, the struggle is real. And I don't know, Louie, you also have 2 kids, and you're a bit more full-time than I am.
I've got 3 kids, yes. Oh but I absolutely agree with you. You can't, you have to admit that you need help. Because some people, that you know, there's this feeling where we have to be super mom, super woman, and you want to take everything on in yourself. But you have to admit when you need help, and I'm glad that you're very honest about that. Yes, it takes a village.
But it's a work like you don't have kids and be a mom. There's this saying, work like you don't have kids and be present like you don't have a job. There was like some, oh God, I'm really butchering this.
I'm trying to remember it for you now.
I really want to remember it. But yeah, anyway, it is hard to balance the two. What do you think, Caroline?
Oh God, I don't know how you guys do it. Honestly, I couldn't think of balancing out so many different things all in one end. So I'm very in admiration to both of you, especially three.
But you're an entrepreneur, so I want to hear about that.
Yeah, but so look, I climb mountains and then I'm home and I work as much as possible, but I don't have a family to come home to and kids to look after, so it makes it a lot easier. I'm sure, Amy, do you?
I don't have any children. I feel like I have it quite easy. But I have 2 companies back in the UK, as well as doing all my TV stuff here in Dubai. And sometimes even without children, it can be overwhelming. And I think sometimes, you know, finding that sweet spot, like that balance between not overworking yourself, regardless as if you've got, you know, family, you know, just having a little bit of time to yourself, it's really important as well.
But, you know, I think that survey, and I had read that article where those findings were coming from, was it is all relative to what our male colleagues are earning, how they're advancing. Are you guys still feeling that? Because it's funny, I was having this discussion with my friends. I was saying, why are we still earning less than men for the same jobs? And it's funny because my husband and I were up for a couple of the same jobs, and I noticed it right away that he was getting a bit more than I was, or for whatever reasons. But I've noticed it with other colleagues as well. And I've also noticed, while I was speaking with my friends, we're a little bit more embarrassed to ask for money, demand certain things. We're a lot more accommodating. And I don't want to generalize and say all women are like that. But I noticed that certainly for myself. That's something that I've worked very hard on improving, which I know I should know my worth. I should not be embarrassed to ask for money. I should not be embarrassed to ask for a raise, to get what my value is, to appreciate my value.
Yeah, look, in that regard, I can completely understand and relate. It's a little bit different in the mountaineering world, but in the mountaineering world, you see most of the sponsorship go to men and less women. I know when I was in Antarctica recently, we had 150 men there, and for every 15 males, there was 1 female there. So literally about 10 women in the whole camp, all of Union Glacier. So you see a huge difference when you get into elite sports as well between genders.
And why do you think that is, though?
I think...
Just say it, Caroline, say it!
Look, I think primarily it has to do when women get to a certain age, they want to have a family and they want to have kids, and those two things go in different directions. Having a very dangerous sport that you do as a hobby and being able to have a family and have a really stable job and a career, so they don't work together.
But going back to what you said about sponsorships and what Dina said earlier about being a bit more aggressive and actually stepping up and asking for it, do you see more women in the mountaineering industry actually going out and looking for sponsors and really just asking for what they're worth?
These days, 100%. So I know on Everest, for example, currently the climbing ratio is 12%. So 12% of all the climbers are women and the rest are all men. And so I've seen recently a lot of my female mountaineers that are actually really, really gearing up for sponsorship and talking about what it means to be a woman on the mountains. And it's changing for sure. And look, I'm a mountaineer and I'm so fortunate to be sponsored as well. I have a great partnership with DHL and they've been supporting me in the mountains for such a long time. So it's definitely changing with companies like that.
I don't want to stop this conversation right now, but it is time for another quick break. This is so interesting, but we're going to continue to shine a light on inspiring and pioneering personalities right here in Dubai. So stick around. We will be right back.
Welcome back. Endurance, stamina and strength are often not associated with women past a certain age, but our next guest is defying that notion. Please welcome fitness coach Sarah Lees Harris.
Hello.
Welcome to DXB Today. So Sarah, I was looking on your Instagram yesterday actually and just looking through some of the amazing stuff. So you've got a super active life.
Yes.
Is that something that you've always done, or is that something that you picked up at a later age?
Actually, I've always been active because I have very active parents. My dad is still, he's 85 and he's still cycling 150 kilometres a week. Oof, my mum carries all her own shopping. She's also 85.
Goodness.
And they've always said to me, you know, you've got to be doing stuff. So we always rode bikes, or we ran on the beach, or we swam. We were swimming since we were 2 years old. And so we've always been encouraged to be active.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
So Sarah, I'm really feeling you today, because Louie and I have no idea how old you are. I feel like you're quite young, so I'm not going to loop you in here. But Louie and I are about to reach our 40.
Yes,
It's not really that big anymore, is it?
Not so much.
It's still cute. We're about to reach 40, and I know that you only train women over the age of 40, and you're in your 50s.
I am.
Now, why is that? Because I'm feeling you, but I want to know what inspired you to change it. I really can't bring this question down.
Yeah, I'll tell you. So at the age of 46, I started the perimenopause, and then your body starts changing. Sorry, ladies. You go through all these like little nuances, and some of them are huge, and I noticed a huge drop in my cycling performance and basically my life performance. And I was already a scuba diving instructor for 21 years, and I was cycling a lot, and I thought, well, I want to start coaching women who are going through the same thing as me. And then I was inspired by a lady called Dr. Stacey Sims, who's written a very famous book on female physiology called Raw, and she's subsequently written one for endurance athletes in menopause. And one of those things about menopause is that you start talking and then you forget the original question. So I'm going to have to ask you.
It's because I didn't really end up asking you a question.
Yes.
I mean, I wanted to know what inspired you to start training women in your 40s, which you
Yes.
did answer. And you've got my menopod here. I mean, menopause has never looked so good, ladies. Looking good on the cover there.
Thank you.
No, but why? Why women over the age of 40? Is it to help them regain their confidence? Is it because it's a new chapter that we often don't talk about? I mean, I just tackled mom bod. Just got my body back, and now you're telling me it's going to change again.
You look great, by the way.
Thank you.
Because we are the forgotten athletes. We are so difficult to train, and lots of people don't want to tackle us because we have mood swings, we have fatigue, we have weight gain, we have insomnia, and we have all kinds of things that I sort of don't want to mention right here, but it's mentioned in my book. And if you don't want to buy the book, you could use it as a fan as well, because it's quite hard to hear. But we are the forgotten athletes, and we need special attention. And I thought it would be really nice to encourage a group of women of my age, I'm nearly 54, to have a tribe where you can come and train and learn even to cycle or swim or run, or if you already know, to improve yourself without the competition of the 35-year-old or the 30-year-old who is a lot stronger and fitter just by nature. And so it's a non-competitive but competitive environment. It's inclusive. You come to the beach, and if you've seen my Instagram, it's women of all nationalities, all cultures, all heights, all weights. It doesn't matter. There's something that every single woman can do, and this is what we're about.
I was going to say, I'm so curious. This is why I wanted to jump in and ask you this question. What is it like to train women who are going through menopause? Is there a sense of fear? What is that like?
Oh, I've had anxiety attacks on the beach. Women who are, so I'm feeling a bit myself now, or women, especially our age, our parents are passing. Mine, unfortunately, not yet, but at this stage of life, women who have children, their kids leave home, and there's that anxiety. Or they have such anxiety attacks at work, they have to leave their careers because they can't cope. So endurance training and strength training as well, which is what my guide is about as well, really can assist you with mental health. And this is where women of my age suffer the most. So we can deal a bit with the weight gain, we can deal with the wrinkles, and, you know, we've got people around us like Caroline, who's, you know, teaching us all on how to take better care of ourselves, but the mental health aspect is the most important. And so having a place where you can go and just go have a try and work on making your body stronger. You know, we suffer from osteoporosis, we get sarcopenia. From the age of 40, you start losing 30% of your bone density by the time you get to 50. So if you're not doing strength training, or you're not doing the sports that we're doing, you're likely going to start stooping by the age of 50. You'll start possibly piling on the belly fat if you don't look at what your hormones are doing, and that's another topic I could talk to you a long time about, the benefits of menopause hormone therapy. It is an absolute joy if you qualify for it, and if you're allowed to have it. It's one of the things that women of my age are really looking into now.
Do you want to just tell us about your book really quickly?
Yes, so I thought there was a need, because when I initially put on my menopause weight, I put 10 kilos on. Thank you so much.
I know, just putting it in there for you.
And I had no idea how to lose it. So I joined a CrossFit box in the area where I was living in Dubai, and they were so welcoming. There were lots of women in there, which is very encouraging. And I was injured from trying to train for a marathon. That's an ongoing saga for many years now. I haven't quite achieved it yet. And so all I could do was weights. And I thought, you know what, there's a need for women to feel that they don't have to go to a CrossFit box. It's all very daunting. So many women say to me, oh, I'll join your group when I've lost 10 kilos. And you don't want that. Mm-hmm. Feel free, please, to get into your Lycra. My book has got no filters. You can see all my wrinkles, and the day that we took the pictures I was bloated, that's there as well. I haven't resized anything, because why should we? Because we are, and I'm happy to be what I am in my current state. And if I had more money, well, I might have one of those gorgeous facials or whatever, but I can't right now. But the whole idea of the book is that if you are at home and suffering from anxiety, some women are unable to drive with the anxiety that they feel, you can grab my guide, you can buy a couple of kettlebells online, you can either do it on Zoom with me, or from your home, you can build a strong body in your own time and feel confident. And also it is proven that strength training actually improves mental health. So, and also the better your mental health, the more you can function at work. So we need to see more women of my age in C-suite positions, please.
We do want to see
Let's have
that.
you out there, ladies.
Yes. Thank you so much, Sarah, for joining us. This was such an interesting talk, and I'd love to talk about this for at length. But of course, for those who want to find out more, you could always check out her book, My Menobod. Thank you very much again, Sarah.
Lovely to be here. Thank you.
Now, this brings us to our time for the quiz. Caroline, are you ready?
I am ready.
Yes, so it is time for you to conquer our DXB in 60 challenge. You have 60 seconds to answer all these questions for today's show. I'm going to have a timer. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, timer in 3, 2, 1. What did we talk about on the show today?
Oh, we talked about food wastage, we talked about menopause, we talked about aging and modeling.
All right, and what is Boca trying to reduce? That was correct, by the way.
Food waste.
Yes. And what is Caroline Labouchere's profession?
Oh, she's a model.
Model, correct. When did Caroline start modeling? In her 20s or in her 50s?
50s.
Who does Sarah's company Swim, Bike, Run provide fitness training to? Middle-aged women or school children?
Oh no, middle-aged women.
What is the highest peak in the UAE? Jebel Hafit or Jebel Jaiz?
Jebel Jaiz.
Who is the first Emirati figure skater to compete internationally? Zahra Lari or Dina Buddy?
Oh,
I should have confused her. Okay, next one. It was actually Zahra. Which UAE city set 2 world records for its fireworks show on this year's New Year celebration? Abu Dhabi or Ras Al Khaimah?
Ras Al Khaimah.
What is the oldest active volcano in the world? Mount Etna in Sicily, Italy, or Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania?
Etna, I think.
Yes, so 8. You got 8 points, guys.
Congratulations.
And I totally confused you. I'm so sorry. I was a joke.
I was like, let's have a look at the leaderboard. She's at number 2.
Well
Yes.
done. And I confused you a bit too. I'm so sorry about that.
You be convinced as well.
Oh, yeah. No, I do not know how to figure skate well. Let's just put it out there. But ladies, thank you so much for joining us today. You have been so inspiring and a fantastic guest co-host. So that is it for today. But don't go anywhere, because we're going to be back with Dubai's epic rock band, Nicotine.
Welcome back to DXB Today, and this time joining me is the very talented Nicotine frontman Neil with us right now. How are you doing, Neil?
I'm doing well, thanks.
You guys have been around for quite some time. I know Dina's quite a fan, very big fan, and I know you've been releasing music already. Do we expect anything new from Nicotine?
Well, it's been a while since we have actually put out something. Well, we have something in the works, and we are working on it, and no pressure, but we feel that we'll put it out when the time is right.
No pressure. When was the last album released?
2014 at the Hard Rock Cafe.
Panodrama,
That's
right?
correct.
And are you going to give us a little bit of a preview today of what we can expect in the next album, maybe?
No, I think we're holding out on that, yeah.
Darn.
We're definitely revisiting one of our tracks, which is called Broken Dreams.
Okay.
Yeah, it's something that we really hold to our heart, yeah.
And how is the music scene now that we're done pretty much with the pandemic? How is it back?
Well, the pandemic is I mean, it's affected a lot of venues and everything. You will see new venues coming up and things like that. But something for the rock scene, especially, there are very few venues that you can actually play that put out some really good hard rock music. So yeah.
I know you guys, it was a bit quiet over the pandemic for you, but recently it's been one gig after another, right?
Yeah.
What are you hoping to do next, event-wise?
Event-wise, summer's coming up, so it's going to be pretty quiet. But hopefully after September, we're going to see some gigs coming up. Yeah, we're actually in talks with some of the local bands to do the collaborative gig of some sort. Yeah, it should be interesting, but we'll put it out when the time is right.
You were the front act for Nickelback, right?
Yes, we opened for them.
If there was another band that was coming into Dubai, what band do you wish you could do a front act for?
Foo Fighters, but they didn't show up. But
yes.
well, fingers crossed. Hopefully they can come back again. Yeah.
Well, I will look forward to that, and I will let you guys set up, and we'll get back to you in just a little bit.
Perfect.
Thanks, Neil.
Thank you.
That's it for today. It's been a truly inspiring show tonight, and now we want to hear your trailblazing stories. Share them with us using the hashtag DXB Today. Might just get you featured on the show. Ladies, I'm sure you were inspired today. Were you inspired to create any goals, set any goals for yourself?
Yeah, I think what Caroline was saying earlier about being yourself and owning it definitely resonated with me.
Carrefour.
Going to Carrefour. You will see me in that bread department with Caroline owning it.
How about you, Louis?
I appreciated what she said earlier on about just being the best version of yourself at the moment. Because you know how you'd be afraid of aging, right?
Yeah.
But why worry about that when you should just focus on the moment?
I think one thing they both said, Caroline and Sarah, was that when you reach your 50s, it's not like the end of your life. And I feel like our kind of parents made us feel that way. Like, oh, you're 50s, you're a senior citizen. It's kind of like the end of it. And I was like, you can start a whole new chapter of your life, set new goals and all that. And I'll say Caroline Leon said something where she was saying that she kind of taken her safety for granted. And she had a moment where she said, it just takes a fraction of a second for your whole life to change. And that's how she fell, broke her back, and almost found out that she'd never walk again. And she mentioned never using your phone in the car, never always wearing a helmet every time I bike. And I already worry a lot about my safety and about death and all this stuff. But I'm not great with the phone in the car. I do pick it up sometimes. I do. Never? I mean,
I'm at the other side. That was a face of don't pass that to me because I'm guilty.
It'll be like something like, I need to put Google Maps on, or I'll just voice note this person instead of message. But you're still taking a second to look, to glance down, and I do get stressed about that
I think
stuff.
most people are guilty of that because we think it's just a split second anyway. But point in question, that split second can change your life.
Yeah.
It definitely can. So for our viewers at home, don't forget that we are also giving away a pair of golden seat tickets to the West Side Story musical playing at Dubai Opera. To win the tickets, go to Dubai One TV Instagram page and comment on the competition post. And we will announce the lucky winner on Friday.
Well, it is a good night from us now. Join us tomorrow as we look at the future of art and design in the digital age. But now, Nicotine, the stage is all yours.
I'm living through my darkest days. I'm searching for redemption. I'm looking for an answer. When the question isn't clear, broken dreams. It hurts to see you shed your tears. Let's take another chance together. Face your fears. Broken dreams. The past seems to catch up. It's haunting me. And everything has come to an end. A ray of hope but still I fall short of everything. Broken dreams. It hurts to see you shed your tears. Let's take another chance together.